How are you, Africa? Welcome to PanAfricanism Through Poetry with Moses Tofa. Today's poem is titled Songa, Mbele, Julius, Malema, and the EFF. When history is told, it must always be remembered that South Africa was once under the cloud of apartheid. It was one of the most diabolical clouds in the history of humanity. South Africans fought a good fight against it, but the actual transition from apartheid to democracy was negotiated. The new government was forced to make some painful concessions. It extended a magnanimous and reconciliatory hand to the perpetrators of apartheid. This was a signature gesture of goodwill intended to appease capital, promote unity, and safeguard stability. But it was extended at the excruciating expense of radical economic transformation. It protected the vile gains and privileges of apartheid. It enabled the perpetrators of apartheid to cross to democracy with their privileges intact. Now we know that this magnanimous and reconciliatory hand was extended to a wrong hand, to a hand which is perpetually arrogant, impenitent, and entitled, a hand which believes that it is naturally superior, a hand whose appetite to dispossess and oppress others is insatiable, a hand that finds joy when it sits side by side with a vast sea of poverty and marginalization, a hand that is happy when it is full while the other is empty, a hand that is unwilling to give back even the smallest portion of that which it stores, a hand whose only language is to return evil for good. 1994 promised a new South Africa, but such a South Africa remained a mirage. It is a case of a rainbow that faded before it appeared. Economic apartheid has remained entrenched in South Africa. South Africa remains a champion in the league of racial inequality. Black South Africans continue to swim in the sea of poverty, misery, and crime, while the whites continue to swim in the sea of abundance, supremacy, and exceptionalism. Instead of apologizing and taking sincere steps to redistribute the economy, they gave black South African crumbs and called it transformation. They extended economic opportunities to a few and called it arrival. The black South Africans who arrived began to work against their fellow citizens, lying to them that they too have arrived. They became apologists for white privilege. But in 2013, the EFF was born. It rose to the occasion and said no to a check that continues to bounce: insufficient funds. They did everything they could to lull black South Africans into a deep sleep, but the EFF refused to slumber because it is the citadel of consciousness. They undertook a truth and reconciliation process, but made sure that South Africans will never reconcile with their economy. What is reconciliation without economic reconciliation? Why is it that it is only in Africa where reconciliation must mean everything else except economic? Democracy is not democracy until it is economic. The rule of law is not the rule of law until it is economic. They built bogs against radical economic transformation. They discouraged and intimidated the EFF. They threatened that if South Africa dares to walk towards any radical economic transformation, it will become another Zimbabwe. They used every word they could to speak evil of the EFF. But you refused to be cowed. You refused to be muzzled. You refused to be conformists. You have fought a valiant fight and you continue to do so. Yours is a battle not only to liberate South Africa, but Africa. You are walking in the indelible footprints of Kwame Nkrumah, who said that The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless the rest of Africa is free. The timid chose to fight for crumbs. They chose to fight a lame battle. But the EFF chose to fight the true battle. The battle to recover the stolen soul of South Africa. You took a battle that others are afraid to fight. You invaded a territory that others are afraid to approach. You are a liberated zone, a zone that imperialism is too scared to approach. Let this zone expand and conquer Africa. You are the vanguard of Africa. You are Africa's oasis of hope. Let all Africa come to drink from you. You must know this encouraging truth, that there are many black Africans who malign you with their words, but they admire you with their heart of hearts, because they know that you are fighting a true and just cause, a cause which they are not able to fight, because they do not have the courage and conscience to fight it. You must know this encouraging truth, that the supremacists are always putting on an appearance of bravery. They are always gnashing their teeth at you. They declared you an enemy that should be fought with every weapon in the armory. But in their heart of hearts, they are quaking with fear, because they know that you are fighting a true cause. They know that your cause is just and unstoppable, but they are unwilling to acknowledge this truth, because their conscience is seared with arrogance and supremacism. If I were them, I would start to reconcile with the inevitable reality that the EFF is the future of South Africa, and indeed Africa. The journey that you undertook is a long and tortuous one. It is a journey to the mountaintop. It is not a journey for the faint-hearted. The terrain is extremely harsh and unforgiving. There are many odds to overcome, many valleys, seas, and oceans to cross, many hills and mountains to climb, many walls to dismantle, many snares to outwit and evade, many bullets and fiery darts to dodge, many fatal wounds to sustain and endure, many enemies to defeat, some of whom are black Africans themselves, many disheartening chapters to conquer, some fighters who falter and fall along the way, but those who endure to the end will get there. Africa will get there. Songa, Mbele, Julius, Malema, and the EFF. You are not of them who drop back and perish, but of them who move forward and arrive. The brutal truth is on your side. History is on your side. Posterity is on your side. You have secured your pride of place in Africa. Songa, Mbele, ama fighter fikile, amandla.
Let us not get tired. Let us not retreat. Victory is certain. Once you guys get tired, once you guys become lazy, once you become reluctant to fight, you must know the enemy has won. I will never get tired. No one can make me tired. I march forward to the victory of our people. The revolution in South Africa is guaranteed that under the EFF, this country will be the better. Stand up, South Africa. Make sure that South Africa, you are counted with me. Run, South Africa. Stand and make sure that our people understand that they need to be counted. You must be counted. You must be part of history. You must make sure that you are one of the people who are going to deliver economic freedom in our lifetime. Freedom in our lifetime. Amanda!
Fight on the table, madam. I'm a fight up in the level. Fight on Julius Malema uphethe umshini makamnandi. Julius Malema uphethe uthando makamnandi. Julius Malema uphethe ukholo makamnandi. Julius Malema uphethe.
What a celebration out in, of course, at the FNB Stadium. We've just heard the EFF's president there, the CIC himself, Mr. Julius Malema. What a speech. Got the whole stadium to stand up as it was risen on that podium.